Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's special live stream where we're going to talk about Kindle Vella. If you guys don't already know, today is actually the 1 year mark when I started publishing on Kindle Vella. So it is my Vella-versary for Space Slave. If you guys don't already know, my name is Cole Canoe. I'm an author, YouTuber, gamer, and aerialist. I am still publishing under my dead name of Kayla Canoe, so that is what it is under over on Kindle Vella. But yeah, today we are here to talk a little bit about my Vella, Space Slave, which I can actually pull up here in a moment, and kind of just like my journey of Vella over this past year and how it's gone and how my story has done, which I guess is kind of like a super relative type of thing. For anyone who is watching, if you have any questions related to Space Slave or Kindle Vella, or about, I guess, anything author related that you have for me, feel free to drop it into the chat and I will work on answering that. But otherwise, I do have some questions that I kind of pre-made that I will be going through to just kind of like chat about this. But yeah, if you guys have been following me, I'm excited because I got my camera working today. I have been having issues with it previously for my live streams, and it's super funny because it turns out that there's just an actual physical button on the side of my laptop that can turn the camera on and off. And I did not know about this. But now that I know, look at this. My camera works, no problems, it's wonderful. But yeah, anyway, we're here to talk about Space Slave. So I'm going to pull up Space Slave onto the screen here for you guys so that you can see it. But yeah, so Space Slave is a boys love sci-fi-ish romance. It's kind of I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit dark. It's definitely kind of got a bit of a enemies to lovers, friends to lover twist to it. And yeah, I will just read the description for you guys in case you have not heard it before. I'm just going to read it. I guess I could just let you guys read it. It's actually on the screen. I feel like you guys can just read that yourselves if you're interested in reading that yourselves, because I feel like it's weird when I read it out loud. But yeah, so Space Slave has been on there for 1 year. And yeah, we have a question. Welcome, Rachel. Welcome. Question is, what method of marketing have you found works best? So that is actually a pretty good question. I personally have not spent any money marketing, which I do think that there is value in paid marketing. But I have just been super cheap, and that goes for like all of my author stuff. I have not spent any money to market anything yet. I probably will at some point in the future. But what I actually found best for Vella was that there were a bunch of Facebook groups, like Vella related Facebook groups with other Vella authors as well as Vella readers. And so, like, posting in those groups when I was launching new episodes, I feel like helped get reads. And then also commenting on other people's posts within those groups, because a lot of people will post their Vellas and then say that they're looking for Vellas to read, and then you can like comment with your information on there. Sometimes they'll specify what genres they like or whether they want clean stuff or not, which is important because my story is steamy, so obviously I don't want to recommend it to people who are looking for clean stories. But I did find that posting in the groups really helped a lot, because there's a lot of authors on there that also read. And like definitely don't want to like get into like read for read territory, because that is against like guidelines. So I don't do that, but I do share my links when people ask for links in those groups, and I do share links to my story when I post new content generally in there. And I found that that has helped me the most. I think the other part of marketing is making sure that like you have your labels correct, which I am. I do have that on my list to show. So you can see my labels right now that I have for Space Slave on the screen right now. I have it listed under the two categories of the LGBTQ fiction and science fiction. And then there's like there's 7 tags, the MM romance, the BL, gay romance, etc. So I think having your categories and tags be beneficial to you is going to be helpful for that. So I actually went in today, and it's the first time in a while. So I think in one of my earlier Vella videos, and I should have a link to the playlist of my past Vella videos that I've done down in the description if you're interested in seeing my older videos. But I actually changed my category pretty early on. I think I started with like a romance tag instead of the sci-fi tag. I think I might have had like a romance fiction and the LGBTQ fiction. But honestly, when I looked in there, I kind of like want to look at where my story is showing up like on the pages. Because if you're on the first page, when someone looks at that category, then they're going to see your story, which means people looking for that specific type of story, you're going to be able to find it. So I feel like I did pretty well with my tags. So I looked today for the first time in months, literally months, and I was on the first page of the MM romance, the BL, the gay romance, and the aliens tag. So 4 of my 7 tags, I was on the first page. One of them, I was actually number 1. And I think that's because a lot of people don't know what BL is, which is boys love. I think it must be more of a Japanese term. But I figured people who know what BL is and are looking for BL will then find my story. And that's what it is. So, may or may not be a super useful tag because I don't know how many people search for it, but I am number 1 on there. So that's cool. And then like for my other tags, I think I was on like page 2 for the BDSM tag, page 5 for dark romance, which I think there are a lot of pages for dark romance, so that wasn't too bad. And then on Steamy, I was like page 9, which is kind of So like looking at them now, like I said, I just looked at them today for the first time in forever. I'm like, it could be worth finding a tag that my story would place higher on, like page wise, to replace steamy or dark romance potentially, just so that I show up better in searches. But I still feel like those are pretty good tags for my story. So, and really it's a matter of, I don't know, like how, like, I don't know specific details. Like that's something that's kind of hard to like know specifically how many people have found my story from those tags. But I think making sure you're not super low on your tag list and that you have good tags is definitely helpful for like advertising within the site itself. But yeah, because so for my big categories, I think I was like in the top half of like page 4 for the main categories. So it's not terrible considering how many pages there are for the categories. But I also haven't published any new episodes in like over a month, and I think activity affects like your ranking on the tag pages. So like reads, likes, potentially your posting, crowns and stuff like that will like affect where you show up on those tag pages. So I feel pretty good about where it is, and that's what I've done for marketing. I am going to show my numbers, and it's hard without like having like other people to compare to kind of see like how well it's really doing. But like I feel like my reads keep going up. I know last month they did like a special, or not last month, October, they did like a special, you get 100 free episode reads for like the first week of October, I think. So I got a lot of reads in October, like a lot, I think, because they did that special. But yeah, so it's sort of hard to say how well people find it on Vella versus from me posting in those Vella groups. But I do think the Vella groups are worth posting in and getting into like a community with other Vella authors. And there's probably other places, like there could be Reddits, or there could be Instagram or Twitter stuff. I'm not really sure. I just know that I got into the Facebook ones, and I thought that was beneficial for marketing wise. Rachel says, thank you. I'll be looking at your Vella videos. I need to niche down tags for sure. Yeah. Like knowing your niche and like finding the words that people are going to like search for. Cause like I switched my tag to aliens, I think early on. I switched a couple tags pretty early, and like aliens is not a tag that I would have thought of, but like I just looked around Vella and kind of looked at like, when you click, I think the big categories, it'll have like the row where it like Vella almost creates its own little subcategories that you can like pick from to like look through. And so like I kind of looked at those subcategories that were highlighted, and like that's where I found the aliens tag, and I was like, oh well, mine is an alien romance, so like it fits the aliens tag, and it's, you know, it's on the first page of the aliens tag. So if someone's looking for aliens, my story has that, and I'm showing up on that page. So it's probably definitely important. I've not been paying enough attention to mine. When I saw this pop up in on the wings, I wanted to find out what someone else was doing. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't looked at mine in a long time, but I did look at them really early. So like I probably picked stuff out the gate, which I'm pretty sure I did some research. Like I had already been kind of looking into a lot of the Amazon tag stuff, just because I had done that for my book, and my book is probably not labeled very well in that regard for like the extra tags, whereas like Vella was a lot easier because I could just go look and see what tags other people were using, and found ones that fit mine, and that mine is doing well in as far as I'm concerned. I'm like, if I show up on the first couple pages, that's good. That means people are probably going to see it if they're looking for it. So and then Rachel, how do you set up your episodes? Do you have a format, or did you already have these stories ready? So that actually is a question that I had that I was going to go over, which is why I chose Space Slave for Vella. So I wouldn't say that I have like a specific format. At least not one that I like think about. Like there's a good chance that like my story just has its own kind of format, and I don't realize that I'm doing it, because I started doing serial fiction a couple years ago. It was actually the first thing I published, was over on Tapas. I published Project Infinity for free. And it's just like a passion project that I do for fun, that I was doing to have something people could read while I was publishing my first book. So I had already been doing serial fiction for a while before I got into Vella. And I actually wrote Space Slave back in 2020 for NaNoWriMo. It was one of those, I had just finished editing my first book, and I did not want to look at or think about anything in my main book series. So I was like, I'm going to take a break. I'm just going to have fun for this Nano. And I started this sci-fi boys love thing. And when I wrote it for Nano, I was like, yeah, this is going to end up being a trilogy, because apparently I can't write standalone novels. So I think I had about, I probably had like 50,000 words of Space Slave already written. And when Vella came out, I was going to write a new story for it originally. And I just was so burnt out that I couldn't do that. And one of my author friends, Kitty, was doing Vella. Like she had started Vella, I think, when it first came out, and was telling me about it and showing me her numbers and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I just need to jump in. And so I already had Space Slave written, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to convert this into a serial fiction. So for me, as someone who reads mostly like boys love comics or serial comics, I went into Vella, and I also like was writing serial comics or serial fiction. So I was like, for me, because I know people like publish differently. Some people publish like whole chapters as episodes. And I am the kind of person who likes short chapters in normal books. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to be publishing chapter length episodes. My episodes are going to basically be the bare minimum word count so that I can post more regularly, which I did starting out. I think I was posting, especially since I had all those words pre-written, I was posting 5 episodes a week the first month. And then I might have gone down to like 3 episodes a week. And then it got a little bit spotty once I kind of got through all my words. But yeah, my episodes are kind of just like, it's a continuous story, but you kind of always want to like, I don't want to say cliffhanger, but you kind of like leave like a cliffhanger at the end. So like finding the correct places to cut, like, let's say I have a chapter already written for this, the places that I determine where to cut, like where feels like a good place to like cut it for making it into the serial episodes, was very much kind of finding a place where it's like something happened and it's a little bit of a cliffhanger, but like not like a huge, like they're not necessarily huge cliffhangers, but it's like, I think maybe in one of my first episodes, the guy is like playing a video game or something, and like his mom bursts into the room or something, and then it just like stops there. So then like the next episode, like people want to keep reading because they're like, oh, well, what happened? Like, what did she say, or what did she do, or something like that. Like they're like small cliffhangers or like transitionary steps where it's like things are happening, but like where it cuts, you're like, oh, but I want to know what happens next. Like you want them to be motivated to keep reading is kind of how I look at it for the format sort of kind of thing. But I've also been outside of the words that I had originally, I mostly have kind of just been pantsing the rest of it, which I personally think is a nice thing about Vella, is that you can kind of write as you go. And then if you decide later that you want to take your work off of there and edit it and turn it into an actual book, like that is a feasible option, which I think is really nice for people who are self-publishing, especially having self-published my book before Vella became a thing. I obviously spent money on my book to get it published, and then I saw how much money I made off the book when I released it. And again, I am not great at marketing. Like, I'm not. And I did not invest in marketing for my book either, because I was like, there's no point in doing it for this one book when it's going to be a whole series. Once I get the series written, then I will look into actually using paid marketing. But the nice thing about Vella is that, especially with the bonuses, I have made money on my Vella without spending money to produce it. And that's very much money that I could then use to take it down and have it turned into a book if I wanted to. Don't know that I will do that. Maybe someday, but no immediate plans on that. Rachel, oh, that sounds great. Sounds like a great idea. The word count. We've been trying for 1,500, 2,000 each time. Yeah, I think that is also a good word count. So I think originally like Project Infinity is the serial that I started with, and I think my range was like 800 to 1,200 words. And the reason that I cut it back, so I think I do have a couple of episodes on Vella that are like 800 words. But the reason I cut it back to like really be like just over the 600 is because I think that there is a benefit to just posting more regularly. Like I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure like the Vella calculations, at least for when they're doing all the bonuses, like that, how often you post helps like you show up better, or helps your bonusing. I'm pretty sure. I think, I'm not 100%, but that is why I was making it really short. More joiners, welcome. Lolly, thanks for coming. I'm so glad you're having this chat. I'm thinking of questions. Sweet. You just drop them down there when you have them. I've kind of just been going over some stuff. Let's see. Rachel, I actually did that. My reader magnet was previously on Vella. but we've continued the episodes. We had written them as a fun co-writing story as a hobby, so posting the vellum makes us at it. Yeah. Yeah, I do like the flexibility. Someone actually asked me this in one of my recent live streams when I was doing writing sprints, was if I liked Vella. And the general consensus is yes, I like Vella. I like what it can do for the industry. I think it makes it easier for people to be able to self-publish. It makes it easier for people to be able to kind of dabble with their self-publishing before fully committing to an entire novel. It gives people options to like make money off of what they're writing before spending money to edit it and turn it into a full novel. It's just nice. It gives people options. It's got that little bit of flexibility. I also really enjoyed the bonuses, which have sadly just plummeted over the past few months, unfortunately. But I still think it's nice to be able to get stuff out there. But yeah, so since there aren't any questions in the chat currently, I will continue down my list here a little bit. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, we can do a little overview if I can figure out how to stop one screen and share another screen. But yeah, we have tab. We're gonna do this one. So I have my totals for Vella for the year, because this is the 1 year birthday. So I have some so close to like 7,000 reads, which like, I don't know if that's a lot or not compared to some people, but for me, I feel like 7,000 reads, like that's a lot of reads, 4,500 unlocks, which means people are actually unlocking episodes and buying episodes, like over 2,000 likes, some follows and some reviews, which I got my reviews really early on, which is interesting. But I started last year on December 8th was when the first episode went live. So this is my lifetime numbers, but it is cool just to see that like people have read my story, I guess. So I do like to see that people have actually read it and enjoyed it. Let's see. Lolly. What I've done during Nano was upload new stories. In the past few months, I've been trying to see how much I uploaded bonuses. It's like a mystery to me. I'm waiting till Jan to get all the stats. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing because I feel like normally for self-publishing, there is value in having multiple books written. So like if we're talking just like ebooks or just regular self-publishing, not Vella, just regular self-publishing, that like the more books you have, the more consumers can buy, which has the more potential for you to make more money because people who like your writing have more than just one product to buy. When I started Vella, though, I feel like the consensus was that having multiple Vellas actually negatively impacted you for being able to get like on like the top 250 ranked list. Because you would virtually be competing with yourself for votes. So if you had multiple stories and your readers were reading, 3 of your stories, they could still only vote for one story with like their little special crown. And so like you would almost in a sense be like splitting your own readership and your own crowning, which could prevent your story from getting into the top 250 and getting featured on like the rank list. But to be fair, so I would be curious to see how people who have been doing like multiple different Vellas, I would be interested to see like what their bonusing looks like, having multiple stories versus like me who's only ever had the one story the whole time. I'm curious to see if like there is like added value to having multiple or not. I do know it would hurt your ranking, but it didn't really seem to me personally like ranking really made a big deal, because I did have a couple months there, I think like March, April, May time, where like I literally was on the top 250 for every single day of the entire month. And I did not see a difference in my bonus between that month and like the 2 months surrounding it. And like the month before, I maybe hit ranked once, if at all. Like the comparison between not hitting ranked at all and then like hitting it a couple times and then like hitting it every single day for an entire month. Like I just did not see a difference in reads, or at least I didn't see a difference in bonus value, because everything I've done has been comparative to like tokens spent. So I don't know that getting on the top 250 is really that helpful in that sense for like making money. So maybe it does make sense to have multiple, because then you have multiple stories people can read, but that's also a lot more content you have to make. Rachel, that's the big question. Yeah. How many stories do you have? I just have the one, which I just said. Lolly says, I started last January. I'm not even close. Good job. Yeah, I do wonder if jumping into those groups right away really helped me get a boost. I also have a few friends that are just like obsessed with boys love. And part of it too is like, you do have to like take these numbers with a grain of salt, because my episodes are only 600 words. So like this is not reflective of the word count. This is just reads of episodes. So like currently I have 115 episodes, which means if a new person finds my story and they binge read it, that can get me 115 episodes, like 115 reads in like a day. But it's only, I actually don't know what the word. Let me do the math real quick to try to see what that word count might actually be. So we'll say minimum 600 times 115. So like that's like 69,000 words. So like that's less than like the length of my fantasy novel, like significantly less. Like so I would say like that's not even an entire novel worth of words. So like if you're someone who has 2,000 word episodes and mine are only 600, like, I might have 3 times as many episodes and therefore 3 times as many reads, just because of the way that mine's broken down. I don't know if that makes sense. But that is definitely like a factor. Like some people have like 35 episodes and that's it. And it's like a full book because they just have 35 chapters and each chapter is an episode. But yeah. It's interesting. I have 8 up. I wanted to see. That is interesting that you have 8. Rachel D. Adams, I wonder if genres would make a difference. I have both the fantasy and contemporary Vellas, but I haven't been on it a year. Yeah, I would say genre probably definitely makes a difference, especially in like a serial format. I don't personally know like which genre is better or worse than others, but I would say that people who are serial readers, like people who like are just trying to consume content, there probably is like, I don't know if there's studies on like that demographic, but like there probably are certain genres that get consumed faster than other genres. Just that's just the type of people who read it. That's just the nature of it. I feel like romance is probably one of those genres where people just consume it in like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't, just take it with a grain of salt. I do not know specifically, but I do feel like romance might be a genre where things just get consumed a lot faster, in which case it might be more suitable for serial fiction because of that. I do not have the numbers on that, so I do not know specifically. But yeah, lollygag, trying different genres under different names. Yeah, different I would agree. Doing different pen names for different genres is usually pretty good, just for your readers trying to find you. I wonder if the search system will get better. I've had to hand over links to people to help them find mine. Yeah, so when I advertise on my social media, I always post my link. I have a really unique title for mine. So I think if people just search it, like I think if people just search my title, they'll find it. Like if they search it with Kindle Vella, they will find it. At least I can, but I feel like my computer might like prioritize my history or something. So I don't know that that's super accurate, but yeah. I know for like my book, I have to give people my name. They have to search my name and my book to find it. But sometimes that's just the nature of if you got a book title or, Vella title, that's a common, not necessarily common, but just something other people have used. It can be harder for it to show up if they don't also have like the name, like the author name to go with it. Lolly does 600 as well. Yeah, I would be interested to see how your 8 episode or your like over time, how having 8 different stories goes with that. Welcome, Dandy. Got here a bit late. Do you run ads for your Vella? I have not done any paid ad marketing. I do think there is value in paid marketing. I do think that there is value in that because I see a lot of marketing on my Facebook ads specifically that they are like super targeted to me. And I was like, man, Facebook knows it's bad. I just haven't because when I started Space Slave, I made the decision that this was something I was going to do without spending any money. So I have not spent any money editing. I have not spent any money on the cover. Nothing. No money. I did it all myself. Mostly because I self-published my first book and I spent money on that and did not get the return on investment, which I already knew I wasn't going to because you kind of have to like long-term goal it when you're doing self-publishing books. Like you got to get more than one book out there before you start like seeing the money returns, generally, unless you're like really lucky, I think. But I've mostly been marketing on like social media, and there's a lot of like Kindle Vella specific groups on Facebook that I was sharing my stuff in and interacting with other people when they ask for links, giving them my links. So that's mostly what I've done ad-wise. Rachel, who do you find reads your BL work most? I'm curious. I write all kinds of relationship types, but the MCs are in a MM romance. I began wondering if that wasn't getting consumed as much. So I actually did a little bit of research on the boys love genre because it's something that I like obsessively read. And I think originally, don't like quote me on this because I am not like super researched in anything specifically, but I believe that the boys love genre was a genre of manga created for women. I believe it was created for women. They are, yeah, I believe that's like male romances created for women to enjoy male romances. I think so. I think that's how it is because it's like I think they have like separate stores or like separate aisling, but yeah. So normally I do think that like I think any person could potentially enjoy boys love because it is a romance. So if you enjoy romance and you like the romance part, that you can enjoy it. I am a queer trans person who loves boys love. I have several female friends who love boys love. So yeah. But I do feel like there's just like a lot more like female readers who read romance in general. So it is probably mostly female readers, I would say. I don't know though. I don't actually know for sure, but most likely. Lolly, I'm doing a dating erotica random stuff under my pen Lolly G. I'm trying teen romance and romance. My erotica probably won't be everyone's cup of tea, but sex sells, so I decided to start their adventure. You are not wrong. And mine's also like really niche because like it's not just that it's boys love or you know MM romance, but it also has like kinky BDSM elements and like it's got a little bit of a darkness to it in the sense of like things not being 100% like consensual. It's almost like dubious consent sort of dynamic to start out, which is definitely not everybody's cup of tea. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. Dandy, yeah, I'm in a bunch of Vella Facebook groups. Yep. Welcome, Just Eva. Nice to have you. All right, Lolly, I want to know, is it once a week you get a crown? And what if I forgot 1 week and you have to buy an episode before they let you? It's so confusing. I don't like it. So the way the crowns work is you get 1 crown per week that you can use on one story, whatever story you want it to be. The way that you get a crown is by unlocking an episode that week. And it'll pop up. So usually whenever your week resets, the first episode that you unlock, so you have to actually spend tokens on it. You can't do it on a free episode. When you unlock an episode, it'll say you have a crown and you can use it on a story, and it'll usually recommend stories that you've read that you could crown. But you get 1 per week and you have to spend tokens to get it. So I used to just like, I think I was reading other stories and I would like read on Mondays or something. And so like every Monday I would unlock a new episode so that I'd get a crown that I could spend. Which I did that early on. And maybe that's why I was ranking in those earlier months, because I have not been doing that at all. But yeah, that's kind of how those crowns work. MM is popular across the genres, while women remain the biggest readers of romance in general, I think. Yeah, I would agree with that. I do think women are the biggest readers in romance. Across readers. Yes, across readers. Satharos, welcome, Satharos. Thanks for joining. I wish I could stash my crowns to give out when I wanted to rather than 1 a week and no more. Also, a history of where I've put my crowns would be nice. Yeah, they also like don't keep record of like crowns. Like I have no idea how many crowns I do or don't get per month. I just knew when I showed up on ranking because I was checking. Like the first few months I was like checking every day to see if I hit ranked. Because like you could hit ranked and never know. Like so like the last, I don't know, 6 months, I don't think I've checked to even see if I've hit ranked. So I don't even know if I've hit ranked over the past 6 months. The times that I did log in, I wasn't ranked, but that doesn't mean that there weren't days that I did rank. I mean, I have no idea. And it's weird that like it doesn't keep track of that anywhere for you. It is kind of weird. Oh goodness. All the comments. Rachel, I like writing those lines and reading BDSM/DC/heavy tension. Yeah. Just Eva, Cole is their name. Untried pronoun preferences. Are you they or he? They or he are acceptable. I do use he, him, but I'm always open to they. They has like become the default that I tend to use for people if I don't know what their pronouns are, because I feel like most people aren't going to be upset by you using a they pronoun until you learn what their pronouns are. Whereas like if you use gender specific pronouns on people who don't want that gender specific pronoun, they're more likely to feel really shitty about it. Anyway, that's just my experience. I love seeing these stats on screen. Not sure I've seen anyone else share these analytically. Oh, I have a whole spreadsheet that I'm going to share with you guys. Because I should figure out how to. Do I have to share my whole screen to share that now that I think about it? I might have to. I might have to share my whole screen to show you my my spreadsheet. I will figure it out. Come on, Bella, give us the fun things to obsess about. Just Steve, close all tabs you don't want us to see. Yeah. Currently, I just have a bunch of like the tabs open for the Vella anyway. And I think my spreadsheet can take up the whole screen. It's a big spreadsheet. It is a big spreadsheet. I feel like there should be a way for me to present it. Oh, I guess I could have made a slide. That would have made sense, but you know, sometimes it just don't make sense. But yeah, what's gonna happen is the downside is that if I share the whole screen, I wonder if it'll give me the option to can I wonder if I can just make it my window and share my window. Let's see. We're going to try this. We're going to see if this works so that you guys can see my monster of a spreadsheet. Huh. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure there's no personal information on this except maybe my name, which y'all already know. Bam. All right. This is my massive, this is my spreadsheet that I have used since I started Vella tracking, which, ooh, good. You can see my mouse. So like I have like my by months and then like my little quarters. But so I basically have kept track of these things, how many episodes I published, reads, unlocks, likes, new likes, how many tokens were spent, which I have individual pages where I had to calculate how many tokens were spent. So if we do December of last year, you can see that I published 20 episodes in December of last year, and I started publishing on December 8th. So if that tells you how often I published when I first started publishing. And then like token value. And then every month, like at the end of the month, the start of the new month, I go in because Vella does keep track of your reads and it does keep track of your total likes per episode, but it does not designate those total likes per month. So the total likes just keep accumulating. So I realized that I have to get those total likes at the end of each month. Otherwise, I won't actually know how many new likes I got each month. But then I just have to like multiply. So like tokens spent would be how many tokens the episode is, times how many reads I got for that episode, which when it's zero, it's zero. But like, so for here, you can see that I multiplied these two numbers to get that. But I basically used it to get a full number for token spent. And then the token spent number is basically what I was using to kind of figure out like how much money I was making from month to month. And so basically you can see that once I have my royalty, which is the money you get when they unlock episodes. And then the bonus that I got for that month. And then I have like bonus per token. So for each token that someone spent on my work, I got 58 cents for that month. And then I did bonus per unlock because these were just kind of like the 3 fields that I got from my friend where it was kind of like an experiment to kind of see like where there may or may not be consistency, like whether my bonus is based more on token spent or if it's leans more into how many episodes are actually unlocked. Or if it leans into like how many likes I'm getting, kind of thing. So that's kind of how they are. And you can see that like December was a really good month. And then like the next 3 months were like kind of consistent. Actually, like the next like 3 or 4. Like I feel like January of 22 to like May 22, they were all in like the 20 to mid 20s. This one was a little high there. So that was probably one of the best bonuses I got. But then you'll see that as the year goes on, all of a sudden we like drop down here in June, which is interesting because if you look, like my total reads keeps going up from month to month. 300, 490, 6 something, 6 something, 7 something. So like my reads were going up, my unlocks were going up, but like the bonus per tokens was just like going down, which was interesting. And that was when I started thinking maybe it has to do with how many episodes I published, because you can see that in July and August, I did not publish anything. But if I compare my September, my June, and my May, where I published 8 episodes, I can see that like my bonus per token was different for all 3 of these months. Like here I got 20 cents, here I got 11, and like here I only got 8. But I think like the bonus division that they do is kind of based off other people's performances too. So it's like I might be doing better each month, but there's other people who are doing even better than better. And so therefore I'm getting less of the bonus. It's a little bit of a mystery, honestly, but that's kind of what I've been tracking. And I did a little bit of my totals over here so you can see most of these numbers were actually on that total that Vella gives you, except for like how much money I made over the year. So I mean, it's definitely not like a yearly income you can live off of, but that's enough money for me to publish it as a book. More than enough for me to publish it as a book. So like that's pretty cool, like looking at it in that kind of way. But yeah, let's see if those bonuses are hefty compared to the royalties. Yes. And I figured the bonuses would go away, but that's kind of why I jumped in last December, was because my friend told me about the bonuses and I was like, it's probably better to get in now because they have the bonus incentive to get creators in there, to get us on there and using their platform and writing. And I think eventually they're going to go away with them altogether. I don't know when or what the plan is for that, but like, yeah. And Eva says, looks like your story is doing great. Vella, I don't know. Yeah. And there's so many mysteries because they just don't tell you. Welcome, Anna. Thanks for sharing this, Cole. Yeah, I figured it was fine. I mean, these are my numbers. This is what I got. Like, I don't know. That's what I did. That's what I kept track of. And I thought they seemed comparable. And then like the bonuses were dropping. And I was like, I don't know. Because you can see that like my best month in October, which to be fair, I figured it was because they had people who were like reading for free, but I thought that the bonuses or the royalties were going to offset that because we don't have a choice in the fact that Vella is giving people a way to read our stuff for free. And like now that I look at my royalty, I'm like, well, my royalty was only like $5, and I can see here that it was like 15 at that many reads, which means like that's money that I'm losing. And like, I don't know. They're still doing bonuses, so I guess I didn't really lose money on it, but it's questionable. Rachel, do you know if this is comparable to other serial platforms? I actually do not know. So I don't know if other serial platforms do bonuses. I think that the bonuses are a nice thing that Amazon's doing to get the program off the ground. From looking at Tapas, like as someone who's just publishing on there for free, I don't make anything on there. And I feel like a lot of the serial stuff is just like set up in a way where like creators really don't make much off of like the content that they put on there usually. But I really don't know. I have not investigated it. Just Eva, I think of other authors I know. Your story is getting a lot more traction. That's awesome. I mean, that's nice to hear because I like, to me it's just numbers and I'm like, they're going up each month. Great. That's got to be a good sign. And I haven't marketed a whole lot. But again, like sometimes it's just like a niche thing. Like I think I get a lot of people who read the first 3 from like being in the author communities. People will just read each other's stories just to be supportive. But like I said, all it takes is like a couple readers and then I'll have like hundreds of reads for that month because I had 3 people who binge read the whole series and I have 115 episodes. So like, I feel like my numbers could look a little bit inflated because of the fact that they are only 600 word episodes, which means there's a lot more of them, which means I have a lot more reads in comparison to someone who would have 3,000 words per episode. Like they have one read for that 3,000 words and I have one read for 600 words. So like grain of salt. I can't read it. Was it your grand total? Grand total for I have 115 episodes read. I have 6,967 total reads. I have 4,518 total unlocks, 2,189 total likes. A total of 36,231 tokens were spent, which that might actually be more reflective. Like if people have kept track of the tokens spent, because the tokens spent is based off words. So that total might be a number that's more comparable for comparing to other people's stories when we have different word count links for our episodes. That's probably a good comparison. I got $75.13 total in royalties for the year. And I got $4,037.50 for bonuses for the year, which brings the total income for the year to be $4,112.28 is what I got for my year on Vella. Yeah, that's what I got. We do not need that anymore. All right, I'll close that bad boy. So glad I caught this. Now I get to decide if I want to do Vella all over again. Yeah, like I feel like Vella is useful in a lot of different ways. I don't know that they'll be doing the bonusing, and like I said, my bonus for like the last month, which was my best month, was only like $100, which is really sad because like honestly, that first month where my bonus was low compared to like my reads, I was very disappointed because for 5 or 6 months, the amount of bonus per tokens was relatively consistent. So the fact that it like cut in half like was a real shock to me. But now I'm just kind of over it and it is what it is. Rachel, yeah, the pay rate needs to be more transparent because it doesn't make sense according to your data. Right? But that's what I said. So I feel like there are a lot of other factors, I think, because that's my data and how it looks for mine. But like their bonus isn't strictly based off of tokens spent. It's like interactions, but like it's also like how your story is doing comparative to how everyone else's stories are doing. And then like there's also just like a pool. So it could also be that like the more authors that we get on there, the more people are in the pool for the bonuses. And so then the bonuses just get spread out and they just become less because there's more people. Ava, I just followed your story. Thanks. Tokens even out, right? 240,000 word chapter versus 4 chapters of 600 words. Same number of tokens. Yes. Yeah. So the tokens, it is 1 token per 100 words. So depending on how you cut off your words and how evenly you are, like if you're at like 650 all the time, you're probably like messing yourself up because you're like halfway there. But yeah, they do even out. So that's why I said I think if people have kept track of their total tokens that have been spent that they can compare to my total tokens spent, it will probably look a little more, it'll have more balance there. Cause like I said, I feel like my read numbers could be heavily inflated because I'm writing minimum length and just have more episodes. What do you think readers prefer as far as episode length? I think it varies greatly. I personally like short chapters in books, but I also, from a person who reads serialized content on like apps in like the age of like people just want the short, they want to get their little fix, if you can just get on during your bathroom break and read one episode real quick, and you can do that every day, like, it's just different styles of readers, I feel like. So for me, as someone who like reads my little comic strips, I wanted to have as short as possible, which I also kind of do over on the other platform that I was on. That was kind of what I was doing already anyway. So I do like it. I think it's also easier for me as a content creator to be able to write a 600-word episode than it is to try to consistently write like a 3,000-word episode. Because then if I'm like, all right, well, it might only be one a week. It's just a lot easier for me personally. Is your story done at 115 chapters? No, it is not. It is sitting on a cliffhanger where I'm sure my readers like, I want to know what happens next. I'm gonna need you to write this and post this because that's how I live my life. It is not. It is, and I might be a minority, but for me, serial fiction is a story that might not actually have an ending in sight. It's a story that just keeps going for as long as I keep writing it. So like I can just keep writing this story until, I could be writing it for years, right? There's short little tiny episodes and I could just keep going and going and going and going and going. And it's kind of like when you have like a TV series, right? And it just has season after season after season after season, and things just keep evolving and changing. Like, it's kind of like that. So I do not have a planned end for Space Slave. I don't really have anything planned after what I had already had written, so if that tells you anything. And I'm usually like more of a planner. You can see that there's a bulletin board behind me for my main project. It's one of the 3 that I brought downstairs for Nano because I had knee surgery and cannot be in my writing room currently. Well, I can do the stairs now, but for Nano, I could not. Nice. I've done about 1,000 and delighted about it. I'm a new author, and any money is like, yeah. And I would be curious to kind of find out like if there's like a sweet spot of where like people look at a thing and are like, that's a lot of episodes, and like get deterred. But like, I'm kind of in the mindset, like I said, I read serial fiction on my phone. It is more comic based than like text based. But like for me, when I look for boys love stuff and I find a new boys love comic and I click on that first episode and I scroll and I can see that there's hundreds of episodes, I'm happy. I'm excited. I might read that all day and not sleep or eat. Like, so like for me, having a lot of episodes is not a negative thing, but I feel like at some point for some people, it could be too intimidating if there's too many episodes. I don't know, but I would be curious to find out like if that's a thing that's noticed where people are like, oof, that's just too much for me. I can't do that. But yeah. Rachel, my co-authors and I have been writing ours for over a decade, and we still write about our various characters. Do you focus on characters or setting or both in order to keep the episodes going? I am definitely like a character first type of author. I think I am all about the characters and their emotional turmoil, so to speak. Now, there is sci-fi, so in the first, I don't know how many episodes, there is a bit of traveling because we're starting in this boy's house on Earth, and then he's being semi-abducted by this group and ends up, going to a black market in space. And so you do see a variety of species and some planetary AI, various just stuff. So there is some setting in there. Yeah, but it's more focused about the characters and the relationship and the dynamic. But there's definitely setting stuff in there too, because I can't help myself. I am very much like a sci-fi fantasy writer where, like, if I can make it up, I'm gonna make it up. I don't want to have to research stuff. Like, I'm just gonna make it up. It's just gonna out of thin air. I'm like, oh, here's the thing. This is what it looks like. We're on these moons in a different galaxy. And this is just how their science works. Did you write Space Slave that way from the start, just figuring out what was next when it was time to write the next chapter? I'm a big planner, but it's tempting sometimes. Space Slave, I wrote for fun for NaNoWriMo in 2020. It was supposed to just be for fun to give me a break from my main fantasy series that I've been writing. And I did a little bit of plotting for it, probably more like some world building type stuff. And I did do some very basic chapter outlines for Nano to write it. And that was when I realized that it was probably going to be a trilogy. Because I was like, oh, the things I want to have happen, like this is not going to be one book. This is going to be multiple books. But I already had it written, and I decided to just convert it into Vella. So I converted it, and then I kept going, and I have not plotted or planned any of the keep going parts. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe at some point it'll be like, we've gotten so off track of where maybe this should have headed for it to be like a not traditional, but just like for like a normal like story flow. Like if I want to turn it into a novel later, it might need some heavy edits and rewriting to become a novel, because I have just kind of gone with it. But yeah. Let's see, I'm trying to do a series, so I've got the beginning, and then now, which I will eventually turn into 2 different books, the Violet Bond series, Daddy, and the Return of Daddy. You can read them separate. That's awesome. But I'm trying the beginning of the story, and then where the next book would start. I'm trying all sorts of different tactics. Yes. But yeah, no. That is, let's see. Is there anything that I did not hit that I was going to talk about? Let's see. I have a little list. I talked about why I published on Vella, I think. And I shared all my stuff. Yeah, I think I actually kind of hit everything that I wanted to. I think I like put a question on here on the, do I like publishing on Vella and would I recommend it to others? And that's a total yes. Yes, I like publishing on Vella. Yes, I would recommend it to others. It's a great way to get your work out there and to experiment with self-publishing without having to invest money into it, which is kind of the big thing, because a lot of self-published authors, like, you know, got work and other things to do. And I don't know. I feel like it's really a great platform even just to like test out your story idea. Like, write some episodes of it, because you could write 10,000 words into a story and, put it up there in multiple episodes and kind of see what kind of traction it gets and see if it's something that people are even interested in reading before investing time into writing the whole novel. I just think it's interesting. I think it has interesting implications for the publishing industry, for sure. Ooh, Eva asked, are you going to start any other stories on Vella? Probably not. So not anytime soon, I would say. So I definitely got distracted this past year and kind of set my main main book series aside, to focus heavily on Vella. And now that I've seen like significant drop off on the bonuses and the fact that my reads are still going up even without me publishing new episodes, Vella is probably going to take a back burner so that I can focus on writing my novels. So I will probably at some point write some more episodes for Space Slave. I should. I don't want to leave it where it is. They definitely need more. And maybe I'll think about it and plot it out and try to actually make an ending for Space Slave. But there is another story idea that I created for Vella. When I originally learned about Vella, I was going to write a new story. It was a boys' love story. It's kind of a supernatural boys' love polyamorous situation, string of fate thing. And like, I like that story idea. And I will probably write that story. Will it be a Vella? Maybe. I have not decided, but that story is on the back burner while I finish out. I want to finish my main project first, honestly. But I'm not like against publishing more on Vella. And it's going to be one of those things too where like maybe if I can see that other people are doing better having multiple books, we'll call them multiple serials, people having multiple stories on Vella, if that actually makes a difference on like income factors, then like maybe I'll be like, oh yeah, it's worth it to have, maybe it'll be worth it for me to write a bunch of novel length boys love stories and publish them as like Vellas that are, maybe only 50 episodes each or 20 episodes each or whatever. Because they'd just be more like, shorter than my current one. It's potential. I mean, assuming Vella's around for a while, then there's always room to test things out. Lolly, when will they go worldwide? I wonder. Yeah, I do wonder when they'll do that. And I wonder if there will be like incentives around that time. Like I wonder if if there will be incentives surrounding that. Eva adds publish something on Vella to my 2023 goals. Yeah, I feel that. I like have my planners and stuff, and I need to work on figuring out what I want my 2023 goals to be, because this year did not go as planned. I mean, my Vella did great. I feel like it for me going into it with no expectations. Like it did, I think it did good. I feel good about my story and how it's done. I feel good about Vella and the fact that I did it. I dislike that the bonuses are decreasing significantly. That's sad. But at the same time, like I'm still making money off my writing, even if I only make my royalty rate, like wages. Like if the bonuses go away altogether, like I've already written it. And if it's just sitting there making $15 a month, like, and I'm not doing anything, then it's still sitting there making money. So, it's still pretty cool. Ava, thanks for this call. And Lolly, I'll stay in touch and let you know how I do in January for sure. Yay. Awesome. I do have, I think I have a Discord that I'm part of if you want to be able to like reach out to like actually message me. That's linked below. My social media link should be down there too. So like you can always send me a message probably on one of those. Just tell me who you are because my memory is terrible. Terrible memory. But yeah. Thank you so much for this chat. I have got to run to work now. Thanks. I'll try to catch you on Mondays for Sprint. See you all soon. Thanks for joining. Thank you guys so much. I'll give you guys a chance if you have any other questions that you would like me to answer, because I have covered everything that I wanted to cover. And I showed all of my stuff to you guys. So welcome, Christopher. Thanks for joining. Lolly's figuring out Discord, and I'll look you up. Thanks. Awesome. Sweet. But yeah, I went over all the things. All of the things. And my voice is like dead now. I feel like my voice is dead now. I have my cap. I can show you guys my cap. Chris is asking, do you know if Canadians can use Vella yet? I do not know, but I do not think that I don't think they are international yet, no. But I don't know if Canada was included in the original release or not. Oh. This is my cat Bunny. He likes the lap. He's always on me. Aren't you? You say hi? Okay. My fluffy cat. I actually have two of these monsters. This is just the fluffier of the two. It's a good boy. And now you can't. Oh, can you still see him? I was like, most of the time, he's just like in my lap and you can't actually see him because he's below the level of my camera. But he sits there. He just sits there. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for being here with me today. I'm super excited. I can't believe it's already been a year on Vella. I feel pretty good about how everything's gone. And I'm excited for continuing to write and really just like being able to utilize Vella in a way to potentially fund future books it's kind of an exciting thing to think about, because I'm like, yay, I made money off it. Now I can publish another book. I have the money for another book. Just Steve, happy anniversary and good luck for next year. Thank you for this live. It's nice to compare and contrast our experiences. It really is. It's really nice. I'm like, I feel like we need I would love to see more people sharing how their journeys have unfolded. Thank you. Godspeed. Happy anniversary. Wonderful. All right, guys. I am going to get off of here. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do weekly productivity live streams on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested in writing with me or working, whatever you're working on, doesn't have to be writing. Half the time I don't write. I do other things. But yeah, that's what I do. Thanks for being here, guys. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, happy holidays, all that fun stuff. Bye.